Hello, everyone, and welcome back to K-All. I am your host, Angel, and today we have a very special guest who's joining us. Nicole Fell is an award-winning assistant editor at The Hollywood Reporter, where she covers music, K-pop, TV, lifestyle, and more. Most recently, she gave us an inside look at K-pop Demon Hunters, interviewing co-director Maggie Kong and capturing exclusive content with the film stars. She's also spoken with Twice about their global strategy and their exciting collaboration with Megan Thee Stallion. But perhaps most notably, Nicole wrote the viral digital cover story Summer of 17, traveling to Seoul ahead of the group's 10th anniversary to dive deep into their journey and latest album. And now, she's here with us to talk all things K-pop journalism. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. So without further ado, here we have Nicole Fell.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
It's really so exciting just to kind of get into your career journey and learn more about you. So I really want to start at the beginning. How did you first get into journalism? And what led you to focus on music and entertainment, especially K-pop?
Yeah, so I went to undergrad. I have a weird way into journalism. I went to undergrad
Oh,
for journalism. I worked in local news for a little bit. And then I actually went and got a master's degree in television and left
oh wow.
news and worked at a talent agency, and I worked for a TV writer. And
Very
then when
cool.
the strike happened in 2023,
Mm,
I decided to pivot back to journalism and landed at the Hollywood Reporter because entertainment journalism was always where I wanted to be. And it just kind of worked out that I was interested in a lot of things that they hadn't covered as
mm,
much, like K-pop.
yeah.
And I was able to kind of like build my own space from there.
Wow, that's really fascinating. So you kind of had something special that you could bring to the table at the Hollywood Reporter. So you were able to go deeper on a topic they hadn't really perused prior. And then you were able to use your background to kind of lift yourself up in that way.
Yeah, I cover like a lot of different things, but with K-pop in particular, like a lot of the like legacy media places,
Hmm.
there aren't as much like infrastructure around it, and there really
Yeah.
usually is like just a person who is perhaps like personally passionate about it that kind of built something, and they had covered it here and there in the past, but
Hmm.
I just kind of said, hey, I want to start doing this.
Yeah.
And they were very kind to let me just kind of run with that.
That's wonderful. I'm so happy that you've had this opportunity and you're doing what you love. That's like the ultimate goal in life. So how did you get into K-pop in the first place?
Yeah, I've liked K-pop for a bit now. I got into K-pop originally without, I guess, even knowing it was really K-pop and what that meant, just because
Mhm.
discovered BLACKPINK after they performed at
Oh,
Coachella in 2019 and
wow.
really loved them and listened to their music and, watched the documentary that came out in
Hmm.
2020 and was really interested in that, and then didn't really know much about the fandom aspect until I got into other groups a little bit later. Yeah, it was just kind of no turning back from there.
Yeah, once you're down the rabbit hole, it's kind of no going back. It's really
Yeah.
interesting that you got into them in 2019 because Blackpink was also my gateway group in 2019.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think
So
that makes sense for a lot of people.
they definitely took the world by storm in that year. So it's pretty interesting. If you don't mind me asking, what groups did you get into after Blackpink that kind of showed you the fandom aspect?
Yeah, I started listening a lot to BTS and
Mm,
ATEEZ and Blackpink,
of
obviously, Twice.
course.
I am someone who just like loves the genre, or
Yeah.
I don't really consider it a genre. I guess like the sphere of
Yes, definitely.
K-pop. So I kind of listened to everything. One group would lead me to another,
Hmm.
and I keep up pretty much with everyone's comebacks and
Yeah.
try to listen to all of them if I can.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I'm pretty much the same way. I think that K-pop is such like a beautiful fusion of so many different sounds. It's really an umbrella term for so many different genres. So that's
Mm.
what's really exciting. You never know what group is going to come out with a totally different sound, and it's exciting to tune into each time. But going back to your journalism journey, was there like a moment or a story that made you realize this is what you were most passionate about and what you wanted to do?
I started doing journalism. I'm in high school. I was like on my high school newspaper from like my freshman year. I think it's very funny, when my parents moved a few years back, we found like my high school review of a Taylor Swift album,
Oh,
which is
wow.
like very funny considering this is now what I do professionally. I think I just always was really interested in the entertainment side of things. Even when I worked in local news, I would write entertainment stories that
Yeah.
maybe weren't as relevant and probably weren't getting read very much. But I just enjoyed it. So I don't think there was a story. There was certainly like for the K-pop of it all, I had like my first story that was K-pop and kind of then led me to doing more. I think I just always enjoyed this and it just kind of
Yeah.
luckily worked out for me.
That's wonderful. Yeah, it was just a natural progression. That's really amazing that you found that Taylor Swift review that you wrote. Do you remember which
Yeah.
album it was for?
It was for the Speak Now album, I believe.
Wow,
So, because
that's a good
that would have been
album.
like 2010, and that was when I was in high
Yeah,
school. So,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big Swiftie as well, so
Oh, nice.
it's fun to
Yeah.
hear that. Yeah, I think the Swiftie to Taylor, not Swiftie to Taylor, the Swiftie to K-pop crossover is very real as well.
Yeah,
So
I see
that's
that.
cool. And what is a typical day like for you as an assistant editor at The Hollywood Reporter? Is there no such thing as a typical day? Is it always really
Yeah,
eclectic?
I think it's typical days hard to say. It's a lot. There are days where like I'm writing a couple of stories a day.
Hmm.
And there are days where I'm working on something longer, like as an assistant editor, also like help our top editors logistically with a lot of
Yeah, behind the
things.
scenes.
I do a lot of interviews, sometimes
That's incredible.
perhaps too many, but I like that part of the job. So I probably do like one of those daily. Sometimes I don't.
Wow.
Sometimes I have like one a week. But there are certainly days where I have multiple. Typical day is hard, but there are like really fun days where you get to do like a video shoot, like I did,
Yeah.
had two of those this week.
Hmm.
Or there are just times where you're just kind of like head down writing all day.
Yeah. Wow. Well, at least there's a balance. You're able to have
Yeah.
the really amazing days and the other days where it's crunch time and you kind of have to get through everything. But speaking of the video shoots that you did, the recent one you were a part of was the K-pop Demon Hunters one, right? I think I saw a
Yeah.
story about that.
Yeah, we just had the voice cast of K-pop Demon
Yes.
Hunters, so the actors who play the speaking roles come into PMC. PMC is the company that owns the Hollywood Reporter. They also own
Mm.
Variety, Deadline,
Wow.
IndieWire, Billboard, Rolling Stone. They own a
Incredible.
lot of publications, so we're all in one building, which
Cool.
is nice. My
Yeah.
roommate actually works at Billboard,
Oh,
so
how
we
perfect.
all interact with each other a decent amount. But yeah, we had them come into the office, and I got to do a fun video that I think will probably go up today or tomorrow.
Yay. Yeah, this won't be up for a while, so you can tell
Great.
me.
Yeah, so I did a fun video with them where, a tough thing about stories where everyone's covering, which like K-pop Demon Hunters, myself, I've already written like three or
Yeah.
four stories,
Hmm.
and everyone's interviewing them. I tried to find like a fun angle, so I pulled the children of the staffers at THR and asked them for
Oh.
questions to see
Oh,
what they
wow.
wanted to know from the stars,
That's
which was
clever.
like fun, and like they
Yeah.
enjoyed it. It'll be a fun
Aw.
segment to like have the kids ask
Yeah, that's really
because
sweet.
kids don't fully understand the concept of animation and that they're not
Exactly.
real.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. So they have really like interesting concepts to ask questions
yeah,
about.
yeah. So like that was really fun and it's really cool. I'm really happy to see how well that movie's doing and how
Yeah.
seriously everyone is kind of considering it going forward in like awards conversations
Yeah, I know.
and it seems like it's gonna have a pretty long shelf life, which is great.
Yeah. Which is great because when it first came out, I was a little nervous. I was like, I wonder how people are going to receive this because I, as a K-pop fan, thoroughly enjoyed it. But you never know when it comes to like that mass audience how it's going to be
Mm.
perceived. So it's great. It's been wonderful to see the way it's taken off.
Yeah, that's something I spoke about with the director in a story I
Mm,
published the other day. One of the directors, Maggie, who
yes.
it's her and the other director, Chris, talked about the fact that they wanted to make sure it felt authentic. And I think
Hmm.
in speaking with the music producer on the film as well, something he like expressed to me like a lot was that this came from all people who really love K-pop and who really
Yeah,
didn't want this to seem inauthentic and like it was
exactly.
like kind of someone trying to capitalize off of it. And instead just more of like an appreciation. And I think that's in part why it worked really well.
Yeah, I agree. Even down to the music, like the fact that they had producers who worked with Twice, who worked with BTS, who worked with
Yeah.
BLACKPINK, they were able to really bring that essence into the movie and kind of bring it to life. So it's really incredible. And it's
Yeah.
cool that you get to be a part of that just by communicating with them and bringing the story even more to so many viewers and listeners.
Yeah, it's really fun. I didn't expect it to take off like it did. So I'm happy that this is now something that, we get to cover
Yeah.
on like a bigger scale, than it
Yes.
maybe would have before.
Yeah, it's amazing. Speaking of bigger scale, I want to talk about your Summer of 17 cover story because
Yeah.
it really resonated with fans, and I would love to hear how the whole story came together and how you ended up in Seoul and what that was like for you.
Yeah. So when, this story was set that it was going to happen, there's always a conversation about like what's going to work and what's going to not in terms of like going there, but when you're doing a photo shoot and you're doing all of this, it's good to have someone there. And I, pitched myself hard as like, yes, I could do an interview on Zoom, but
Yeah.
like it would be good to have me there. And
Mm-hmm.
thankfully they agreed and I got to go, which was really great. It was my
That's
first time
amazing.
going. It was very rainy, and it was humid, but it was so much fun. And, I am going to cherish that forever. It's my first cover story, which
Yeah.
is something that a lot of people work really hard to get to, and it can take a long time. So it's not lost on me that I like feel gratitude that it happened pretty quickly for me.
Yeah, it's
And,
phenomenal.
getting to go and experience it all in person, I think just like made the whole experience. It was my first time on the set of a photo shoot. It was, my first time getting to see all of that happen. So
Yeah.
it was really great, and I'm really proud of how the story came out. And I tried to really capture everything that was happening there at the time. And I did a lot of research
Mm-hmm.
into 17. I mean, as a K-pop fan, I'm obviously quite familiar with them.
Yes.
Um, but I spent a lot of time reading everything that's ever been written about them. I watched
Wow.
content. I tried to understand kind of everything
Yeah.
about them that I could before going into the interviews so that, I think sometimes K-pop talent can have, unfortunately, in the past, especially when it's people who didn't really want to be covering K-pop. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
really do any research and they didn't
Yeah.
really care to know about. This is just like a broad statement overall. I think like you can see in interviews sometimes where it's like
Absolutely.
maybe they don't know anything about the group and
Yeah.
maybe this wasn't like their choice to be here. So I try really hard to always make sure that it's clear that like I understand these people and I
Yeah.
like have looked into them and made sure to know about them, because I think K-pop in particular has suffered from that more than other
Absolutely.
parts of
No,
music.
I think you're 100% correct, and I think you're showing utmost respect to the artist by taking the time to understand their
Thank you.
discography as well as all of the content they've created throughout the years, because this was for their 10-year anniversary, I believe, right?
Yeah, their last album and their 10th anniversary, which
Yes.
is obviously a very interesting time. Like I talked about in the article, they're at
Hmm.
like a very like a interesting point in their career where, a lot of the members are about to enlist,
Yeah.
and they've been doing this since they were young. So it was, I think, really interesting to get to hear their thoughts of like this point in time and like how they see the future for them.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And the fact that you care so much about bringing their stories to life and making sure that their voices don't get lost. So that's a beautiful thing.
No, thank you. I try. I
Yeah,
think,
you do.
we're supposed to let others tell their story through us. That's how I kind of look at it.
Yes, no, absolutely. And you've interviewed some of the biggest names in K-pop. So what's your prep like when you're working with people like Twice or 17? I know you spoke a little bit in detail about the 17 research, but what about with other groups?
Yeah, I try to, like a great piece of advice that was given to me by um, one of the higher editors and frequent cover writers at THR was to like read everything about your
Yeah.
subject. You should have read every single like thing that they've ever said essentially
Yeah.
publicly, so that you have an idea of kind of what you're looking into. And then I try to do that. I read the work of
Hmm.
like the other people who write in this space, who a lot of them now are people I know well or, are friends just because it's a small circle and we all end up kind of knowing each other. But it's really fun to get to learn about the groups, but also then get to like see what people that I, know and care about are writing
Yeah.
and get to like support their work too. But yeah, I read pretty much, I tried to read interviews in the past. I try to, oftentimes if it's for a certain album promotion, companies might give you like teasers or might give you information about what the album is going to look like so that you can then, prepare
Yeah.
adequately. Yeah, it's mostly just like making sure I understand absolutely everything about them before going into that.
That's really cool. And it's awesome that you had the opportunity to have that behind the scenes with the teasers or promotions so you get a better sense of what you're going into, so you know what you're going to be talking about. And again, you could really make sure that you're bringing their art to life with whatever it is that you're covering. That's really incredible. And from
Yeah.
your perspective, how has K-pop coverage in general kind of evolved in Western media over the past couple of years? Because I've noticed a bit of a shift.
Yeah, I think it's much more mainstream in coverage. I think it's
Yeah,
pretty common for every outlet to at least have some presence, which even like a few years ago it wasn't. I do think that there's now perhaps more people who, perhaps like myself, who were like interested in it before they started writing about it and have a bit of a different perspective. Or there are people
yeah,
like Jeff, who's been writing about it for a long time. A friend of mine, Laura, who writes a lot for Forbes, giving a great perspective. I just think that there's like a lot of mix of people who I think now really care about it. And obviously, the
yeah.
people who were covering it before cared about it a lot too, and they still do. But at least at most publications, there's perhaps more people who were not kind of assigned to handle this, but want
They're more
to handle
passionate.
this. Yeah.
Yes. The passion is such a key aspect that's making it so different now. And you really hear it in the articles. Like as I read through for different K-pop publications, because I'm like always looking around,
Mm,
you could really hear the passion in the writing. And I think K-pop getting more mainstream has also allowed for these journals to reach a broader audience with the content.
yeah. I think the fact that, publications that are like considered like legacy media,
Hmm.
like covering it in earnest is means that it is very much like integrated into what we consider to be like entertainment journalism, which is
Yeah.
exciting.
So, do you have a favorite interview or moment that stands out in your career so far, aside from 17? Because I know that was a big one.
I really do like them all.
Yeah,
I think I think a a fun one for me was twice, just because that was like my first video interview,
yeah.
and that was one of the first times we got to bring my first actual K-pop story for THR was actually an in-person interview, which is such a
Oh, wow.
rarity.
That is a rarity.
Yeah, they just like happened to be in town, and it worked out
Incredible.
with ATEEZ in 2024.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, in-person interviews are a bit more rare. It's usually
Hmm.
around like the time of KCON, or if it has happens to work out another time. And so, but twice it did happen to work out, and we got to like bring them into the office. That was like the first time I did that, and we like did a video shoot,
Hmm.
and that was just like a lot of fun. So that stands out because it was like a new experience
Yeah.
for me.
It's really incredible. That's amazing. And going back to ATEEZ, when you had that interview, how did you prepare yourself back then? Were you nervous since that was like your first experience doing that face to face?
Yeah, I was definitely nervous, but I felt pretty confident because I felt I knew quite a lot
Yes, good
about them
research.
going into it. So it honestly was great. And it was like such a lovely interview. Yeah, I was definitely nervous at the time, but it was, I think, a great first one for me to have it in person and to have,
Yeah.
and something that could happen. Like I had an audio issue where one of my recorders didn't record, and thankfully I had like advice from others being like, record on two things. And so like I had the bad thing happen to me right away where
Yeah,
my recorder didn't record, but I had my backup, so it was fine.
that's
Um,
good.
so like kind of just like anointed me by fire there, and I was able to get it all figured out. And
Oh,
in-person interviews with 8 members, that's a lot,
it's
especially because
daunting.
a lot of a lot of things come through a translator. So when you
Yes.
listen back to audio, it's really hard to tell who's speaking. So you have to
Oh,
be very in the moment. I am like notating who's speaking at what time so that when I'm then
gotcha.
transcribing audio, I can make sure that, it's getting properly attributed.
Yeah.
Um, so it just like in person adds a bit of a logistical element to it. So I'm glad that I was able to kind of have that be first.
Yeah, because it really helps you prepare for anything after that
Yeah.
moment. If you could interview any artist or group, K-pop or otherwise, is there somebody in your mind that you really want to have the chance to interview?
Um, yeah, I mean, of course, in the K-pop world, BTS or BLACKPINK are like
Yeah.
the two that would be so fun. But I think
Yes.
just like in general, I would love to, just because of who I am, like, Taylor Swift or like Britney
Hmm.
Spears,
Yeah.
like Beyonce. I
Oh
mean,
my
something I
goodness.
will probably never do, but like it's
You
so
never know.
lovely to
Never say
dream.
never. It
It's
is
so
lovely
lovely
to
to dream
dream.
about it.
It is. Yeah, that would be the dream for me too. BTS and Taylor Swift, my top
Yeah,
two forever. They're just
that's
such brilliant
awesome.
artists, so I hope that one day you do get to interview them.
Thank you. I hope you do too. I mean, it'd
Thank you.
be such a wonderful thing, and I mean, it's really exciting now that they're going to be promoting again.
Yes, I
Um,
know
to
now that they're
see.
going to be back, which I have so much I want to ask you about that as well because they
Yeah.
have their March 2026 comeback that's around the corner. They're working on their music in LA. Do you have any predictions for their comeback or just
I
hopes?
don't I don't think so at the moment, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see what it is. I'm excited to see that they're working on music and doing it together,
Yeah.
and I just think it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be very, very exciting because we've gotten so many amazing solo releases from the period they've
Yeah.
been in the military. Everything with Jin and J-Hope going on tour, and obviously August D prior, that was incredible too. Is
Yeah.
there any solo music particularly that you really love that you stuck with?
I enjoyed all of it, I think, in different ways. I think
Yeah,
the one that I've I've always been really drawn to RM solo music.
me too.
I really like, he is like a very poetic way of putting things, I think. But
Mm-hmm.
even like, I went to J-Hope and I went to
Yeah,
Jin's tours this year, and they were like so fun, and like I had like
right?
an incredible time, and I like
Yeah.
forgot, you forget all the songs that you love. And
Yes.
getting to hear like Spring Day at
I
Jin's tour
know.
was so lovely, and it brought me back to
Yeah.
like really like fond memories of seeing them
Oh.
before. So I am very excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. I haven't had the chance to see them as a group yet, so I've only seen
Oh,
them through their solos. So hearing Spring Day made me cry.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna have the best time when that happens. I got to see
Yeah.
them here in LA, and then I also saw them in Vegas
Oh, wow,
after
amazing.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it was like really awesome, and
yeah.
I'm excited.
Very exciting. And I'm really glad that you mentioned RM's music. Do you align yourself with Indigo or Right Place, Wrong Person? Like, what's your kind of vibe?
Yeah, I'm more of an Indigo person, I think.
Me as well.
That is, I think, very reminiscent of like the kind of stuff that I've always been drawn to. So I
Mm-hmm.
really found myself listening to that album a lot. But I think all of them have been in pretty heavy rotation for me.
Yeah, me too, absolutely. Do you have top three favorites from Indigo? Because for me, I love Yoon with Erica Badu, and I love Hectic and Still Life.
I don't think I have a top three. I think I listen. I'm like someone who, if I like an album, I just listen to it top to bottom and
Yeah.
just like not shuffle. I just like let it play.
Well, Indigo is the best album to do that with because it's
Yeah,
absolutely phenomenal. So, good choice. Good choice of music.
thank you.
But what is one K-pop release or moment from this year that you think was underrated or undercovered?
Hmm. Let me think. There's been a lot of really fun debuts this year.
Yeah.
I just like at KCON got to see a lot of like newer groups. Like If I was so impressed
Oh, yeah.
by. I saw Baby Don't Cry, who I had actually done like a debut exclusive with, and it was
Oh,
like their
cool.
first. I think it was perhaps their first interview ever, but certainly their
Wow.
first international interview. There was also Hit GS. I don't know how to
GS?
Hit GS. It's like
Hit GS.
HITGS. I
Oh,
know there's a
okay. I haven't
proper
heard
way
of
to
them.
say it,
That's
but
okay.
I'm gonna say it wrong, so I won't. Because they were really fun, and there's a boy group that was there, New Beat, that was really fun, and Now's. So it was really cool to get to see like new talent, and I
Hmm.
really loved. I think Kiki's debut was like the
Mm,
strongest in a long time.
good to
I
know.
really loved their debut, and I just listened to their first comeback single last night, and thought that that was really exceptional as well. So I'm
Cool.
really excited to see what this like next wave of artists coming up
Yeah.
are looking like, because it's really exciting. And I know that Big Hit has a boy group that's going to debut
Yes, they
soon.
do. I just saw that.
Um, so it's exciting to get to see these new groups come about.
Yeah, it is. It's really exciting to see them emerge. And the fact that you were able to see so many of them at KCON LA is really, really cool. If I is definitely phenomenal. I love their music, but I have to check
Yeah.
out Kiki. I haven't listened to them.
Yeah, you should definitely
So,
give them a listen. They had their
yeah.
song I Do Me. That was like their
Okay.
pre-release debut. And I spoke with them earlier this year, and it was so wonderful. And I just think that their music is I think they're taking like a really cool approach with
Cool.
them.
I'll definitely check them out. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah.
So, what was your favorite comeback of the year? Do you have one? Or at least
Ooh.
top three? Because that's a tough question.
Um, that's tough. I think I really loved ATEEZ's Lemon Drop, and then In
Yeah.
Your Fantasy kind of packaged
Yes.
together. I really loved TXT's comeback that just was released. That was really
Yeah, with the
great.
solos.
Yeah. Twice had a wonderful comeback, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And a song that I play all the time is Jump. I really loved
Yes.
getting to hear
I'm
some new
addicted.
BLACKPINK music.
I
But
know.
like I said, I try to keep up with like all of the different releases. Like obviously I listen to 17s quite a lot.
Hmm.
Given I, was writing about them, I would
Yeah.
have listened to them anyway, but certainly when I write about something, I listen to it a lot as well. So that I
Yeah.
think that like kind of reflects in what I'm
And what you're
doing at the
listening to.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool, though. That's awesome. What an incredible job. Like, that's such a dream to be able to listen to the music that you're passionate about and then it just flows through your writing. Do you ever feel
Yeah.
like you get writer's block, or are you just such like a professional now, day in and day out, that it's
Oh
not
no,
too
I
rough?
I, I certainly get writer's block. I think everyone does. There are just days
Yeah.
where it's really hard to do it. Sometimes I like to joke like, can you believe I have to write? Even though that's kind of like
Oh,
my whole job.
so funny.
Um, but yeah, some days it's really hard to write a sentence, and some days I
Yeah.
can write several stories at once.
Rapid fire. No, I get it.
Yeah.
Because as a writer myself, there's some days where I'm like, do I like writing? What am I doing? And then
Yeah, it
other
can be
days you're
tough.
just in the zone.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How do you break through that when you feel that writer's block? Do you have any strategies by
Um,
twice?
I try to like step away for a
Yeah.
bit, take a
Deplug.
walk. Like just I use like I do a lot of those like YouTube videos where it's like 30 minutes and like 10-minute break.
Yeah.
Or I just like, you know, scroll on my phone or try
Yeah.
to not think about it for a second.
Exactly.
But sometimes I just have to force myself to push through
Yeah.
it and just do it.
Yeah. And you get it done. You always succeed. So,
I
what
try.
advice you do? You do amazing. What advice would you give to somebody who's trying to break into entertainment journalism, especially within the K-pop space? I'm asking for myself and for friends who are listening.
Yeah, I would just say that it's just like important to just keep trying at it, and to find your own space maybe where you already are. Like for me,
Yeah.
um, like I was not hired as a K-pop journalist. My title is certainly not like K-pop reporter.
Yeah.
Um, it was just something that I was passionate about, and I was just kind of like, hey, could I kind of start doing this?
Hmm.
Um, and they started just taking what I had to say with some weight because they kind of learned that I was trying to be like a scholar of it and that I was really
Yeah.
interested in it. So I just kind of like tried to make my own space wherever that may be. So yeah, I think that's like even when I like worked in local news and I was like not an entertainment writer, I was writing about entertainment to show that it was
Yeah.
something I liked and then got there eventually.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think just continuously pursuing what it is that you're passionate about, no matter what field you're in, that's how you succeed. That's the key to
Yeah.
success. You got to be a little relentless when it's something that you're passionate about. So that's cool. Thank you for your advice. I'll take it to
Yeah,
heart.
of course.
I've noticed recently when it comes to just writing articles in general, everything with SEO is kind of changing dramatically with the rise of AI. So I'm curious what your take is on that. How are writers dealing with that?
I don't know if anyone really knows that yet. But I know I just kind of like focus on what I've always been focusing on, which is like trying to make it be something that someone only can get like
Yeah,
from me.
which is great. That's a fantastic answer right there. That's all
Thank
you
you.
need. Mic drop.
Try.
Yeah, I love it. And I think it even relates to All Day by RM because he says how F the algorithm, I'm trying to find my own biorhythm within the
Mm.
lyrics. And that's kind of what we all have to be able to do, know our own sense of self and not let a computer tell us that they're going to do better.
Yeah, I just try to like focus on like, yeah, they a computer can't have the conversation I'm having with someone
Yes.
and share that. And that's I think
Hmm.
what I try to
Powerful.
remind myself and you know, sometimes you have interviews that like make you like more passionate about it and you're like,
Yeah,
yeah, I want to do it.
exactly. Yeah, it reminds you why you're doing what you're doing. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. So, what's next for you? Do you have any upcoming stories or projects you can tease? Because this won't be out for like 2 weeks, most likely.
Yeah, I just did an interview with ATEEZ the other
Awesome.
day,
Aw.
which will like a video interview which will probably come out within the next couple of weeks.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's such a full circle moment with ATs too. It's cute that you're doing a little video
Yeah.
interview.
Yeah, it was nice
Aw.
because they were the first one I did and
Mhm.
they were so like great and the interview was really good. I'm happy that we
Yeah.
were able to do it on video this time and you know have it be in person, which was great.
That's amazing. Yeah, and they're really funny too, so I'm sure you got some great
They
content.
are, yeah, they're very kind. So it was just a great interview.
Wonderful. That's great. I'm not going to hold you for much longer because I know that you're very
Oh, that's
busy.
fine.
But I do want to ask you because there's been a lot of buzz around that new show, K-Popped, the Apple TV
Mm,
one with Megan Thee Stallion and Psy. I noticed that you wrote about it,
yeah,
how it's bringing together the Western icons and the idols together for this music show. And I'm kind of curious just what your take is on it in general and what you think about this cross-cultural collaboration.
I'm really excited. I think it's going to be really cool. I really enjoyed the K-pop Idols documentary that Apple put out
Mm,
last year, and I actually am really excited that like a studio seems to be like interested in producing K-pop content,
yeah,
which
it's
is
great.
exciting. But yeah, I'm actually really excited. I think it looks really cool. I think it's such
Hmm.
a great mix of groups. I'm excited to see
Yeah.
like JO1, who I adore, while not K-pop. Like I'm
Hmm.
excited that they are included as well.
Yeah.
And it's just like really cool to get to see some groups like Billy or Stacy,
Hmm.
like in that crop of people as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. And do you think that this is going to continue to be a growing trend, sort of, this cross-cultural collaboration in K-pop? Because I feel like it's happening more and more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty common for K-pop artists to collaborate with artists in other like music markets.
Domains. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can totally see that continuing on, and I think that this is probably going to be really exciting for people to see,
Yeah.
especially getting to see what artists. A friend of mine, Kat, who works at TV Guide, just like published something on the KCON carpet from
Mm.
JO1, like, shouting out
Oh, that's cool.
Kesha because it seems like they worked with her on that show.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool to see, artists. And I know that Meg the Stallion had tweeted
Yes.
about Billy and being like, I love
Yeah.
them. So it's
Hmm.
like really cool to just see
It
artists
is.
supporting each other.
I know, I love it. I think it's the coolest thing. And especially since Megan is such a K-pop fan herself, I feel like it's going to make the show so much more passionate too. It's going to be
Yeah.
really an exciting thing to watch. So I'll be tuning in as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. I have to tune in and see.
But yeah, I believe that is my last question. So we're good to
Awesome.
go. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. It was really so much fun, and you're just absolutely a pleasure to talk to. So,
Thank you. Thanks for asking
of
great
course.
questions, and
Well,
hopefully this
thank
was
you.
helpful.
It was very helpful. I think it's going to be a fantastic episode. So, I
Good.
appreciate your
I'm
help.
I'm glad to hear it. Of course.
This was wonderful. This has been Kay All, Angel, and Nicole. Thank you for tuning in. Bye, everyone.